So you started with injections, and it's really kind of not your cup of tea. Can you switch to another form of TRT delivery? And the answer to that is yes, you absolutely can. I would probably talk to that person as to why they don't like the injectable variant. It is usually pretty easy. We do use a smaller needle and very favorable injection techniques. But needless to say, we will do whatever's most comfortable for you. There are some nuanced things that are difference between injectables and topicals. We do not offer pellets at my office. I do not like pellets. They, in my opinion, don't have a reliable delivery system for both men or women. That might ruffle a little bit of feathers, but that's my professional opinion. But can you switch from an injectable to a topical? Absolutely. We just make the swap. Usually we wait a few days after your last injection, and then we start having you apply the cream twice a day. So that's the caveat with using a cream or using an injectable. A cream would have to be applied twice a day because it has a 14-hour half-life. So there is a little bit of use basis. If you can't reliably apply that cream twice a day, an injection we're only going to do a couple times a week, depending on what your protocol is on how we come up with that. So the injections are a little bit more flexible where you don't have to be as regimented every day. In our clinic, we tend to see men that are older be more geared towards creams because they're retired, they're a little bit more regimented, and we see guys that are younger on TRT that are still working and active kind of use more injectables because they're a little bit more user-friendly. And if you miss a dose of your injectable, let's say you inject Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that's the nice thing too. Whereas if you miss a dose of cream, you're probably going to feel a little bit like because of that 14-hour half-life, whereas the injectable being roughly a 7-day elimination half-life with the cypionate ester, you can just give it the next day and it's really like nothing happened at all. But you can switch, and we have had people switch. And there's other reasons to potentially switch as well. Cream, for example, when done appropriately, will have less proliferation of hemoglobin and hematocrit in individuals that do injectables. So sometimes you could consider moving to a cream if that's sort of an issue. Now, we're pretty liberal with our values here and obviously providing context in those. So generally we don't run into that as being an issue, but it is something to consider. The other thing too is if somebody has, let's say, erectile dysfunction, creams may work better for that particular individual than an injectable because the area, we usually do a transscrotal application. That area is very rich in 5-alpha reductase, which is also rich in DHT, which can help improve that a little bit quicker than, let's say, an injectable were. So there's some caveats to picking which therapy, but you can go back and forth. You could go from a cream to an injectable to a cream. They're the only types of testosterone that we offer in our clinic. There are others. Like I said, there's pellets. There's even a nasal testosterone. They have an oral testosterone. Not a fan of those deliveries. In my opinion, they're just unreliable, or using them is a little too difficult to steadily achieve reliable levels.